So LeetCode 24, swap nodes in pairs. So for this problem, you're given a linked list and you just want to take every pair of nodes and swap them. So how do you actually swap a node? Well, you need to have a pointer that points to it so that you can overwrite that pointer with the new correct pointer, right? So for example here, let's say that we need to swap these two nodes, right? Well, the only way that I can set the third node in the list to be this one, since we want to do this in place and we cannot modify the values, then the only way is to modify this pointer. So if you want to swap the third and the fourth nodes, you need to edit the second node pointer, right? So if you want to swap the first and the second nodes, then you need to have the 0th node pointer so that you can edit it and swap them. So that's what we're going to need. We're going to need a dummy node at the beginning so that we're going to have an invariant in we're going to have a while loop that traverses the linked list. And the invariant that we want in that while loop is that at every step, at every iteration of the while loop, we are always at the node that is directly before the two nodes that we want to swap, right? So that's going to make our life much easier. So yeah, we're going to define a dummy node. And so I just overwrite the head parameter that is given to us with a new list node with a value of dummy and the next pointer of head. So I'm basically I'm appending to the left of our existing list a new dummy element. And don't forget to remove the dummy element from the head when you return. So at the end, when we are going to return, we need to return head.next, right? Okay, so now comes the hard part. Now that we are always at the node directly before the two nodes that we need to swap, what do we actually do? Okay, so the first thing is you want to actually check if you have two next nodes. Because if you do not, then you need to stop your iterations. So let's set up a cursor node that traverses the linked list moving forward to the right. Okay, so this is going to be our traversing node. And then our while loop is going to have as a condition, we've not gone out of the bounds of the list, and we have two nodes that we can swap. So we basically have, moving forward, we still have at least two more list nodes. Okay, so we check if we haven't gone out of bounds, and we check if we have two next nodes. Okay, so if so, then we can swap around these two nodes. So as always, when you swap two variables around, you want to have some temporary variables that will really help you. So we just get some references to the current state of the linked list. And we also take a reference to the next three. So this is the third next node in the list. So for example, if we were here, this is the first next, second next, and the third next here would just be null. But imagine if we had a fifth node here, then next three would be the fifth node, would be a reference to the fifth node. And the reason for which we need that is because now we're going to swap, we're going to take the fourth node and set it to be the third node, and we will set its next pointer to point to this node. So we're going to lose the reference to the third next node. So we want to save that in a temporary variable so that we can then link it back up, right? Okay, so let's do that. So the first thing is you set your current node's next pointer to be the second next node, right? So this is now the third node in the list. But now you still have some hanging pointers, like you have pointers that are wrong. So you want to fix those as well. So you want to take the current, the node that previously was the fourth, which is now the third, it can no longer point to the fifth node. Now it needs to point to what was before the third pointer, which will now become the fourth node. So you want to set its next node, the node with value 4 next pointer needs to be its previous node, basically. And since we are the second next node, then our previous node is the first next node, right? And now, since you've overwritten this next pointer, then you no longer have any pointer in the linked list that points to next 3, if there was a next 3, obviously. And so you want to fix that. You want to link this back up with your linked list. And so what you do is you take your now fourth list node element, which is the list node with value 3, and you set its next pointer to be the third next node, like this, right? and you're done. So now you just want to move forward in the linked list so that you can repeat this while loop again. Otherwise, like you only do it ever in this pair and it's not any use. So now you want to move forward. So let's say that we were here, right? And we just swapped these two. Now remember that we want as an invariant in our while loop that we are always, at every iteration, we are at the node before the two nodes that we want to swap, right? I told that you at the beginning. So now the next two nodes that I want to swap are the node 5 and the node 6, which we do not have here. But anyways, the previous node to those two is the node in position, is the 4th node, which is now the node with value 3, but it doesn't really matter. So we want to move in what first, like before doing the swap, we want to move to what before doing the swap was our directly next pointer, because that is now the second next pointer, right? Okay, so that's it. I submitted a solution to show that it works, and hopefully that made sense. I know like these linked list problems are so hard to explain. Even in an interview, you can mess up something. I mean, you're always gonna mess up something actually. So yeah, that's it. The time complexity is O of n because it just moved through the list once, and the space complexity is O of n, unless you count the input as O of 1. But anyways, that's it for me today. Thank you for watching, and bye.